Good morning once again, and welcome to the Haven Financial Group radio show. We appreciate you listening. At any time ever, give us a call, 612-504-8400. Love for you to come in and visit, have a good cookie, a really nice cup of coffee, because we're coffee snobs, and I'm not afraid to say that, as I'm having a cup of coffee right now, actually. And, we're celebrating 11 years, do lots of education center on site, libraries, Dakota County Tech, other colleges, because what we found is, and I've asked this, does everybody remember growing up, maybe we're still growing up, all those retirement classes that taught us how to make all the perfect retirement decisions, and nobody ever says, yep, I remember all those classes. So it's why we teach, so people can make educated decisions for sure.
HavenFinancialGroup.com. That's where you'll learn more about those upcoming educational seminars. You can sign up there. Let's talk about compound returns. I know how important you and your team feel about compound returns, but let's explain to people what we're talking about before we get into, why they can help you in your future, in your retirement, and certainly help you stabilize.
Yeah, the formula, compound interest is calculated by adding earned interest to your starting amount. So future interest builds on both the original amount and the past earnings. It's why it's so important to get started early. When you have a timeline of 30, 40, 50 years, wow, it's amazing what a difference it can make. Compounds can really have a greater impact over longer timelines, which is why I just said that, which highlights the potential benefit of starting as soon as you possibly can. And I know maybe the younger listener today is going, well, I can't afford to. Well, you can't afford not to. So whatever that looks like, if it's analyzing your budget, even if it's starting at 1% or 2% and then increasing it in that employer plan, you might not even notice it. Maybe it's one last trip to Starbucks this past week or whatever it is. And again, I'm not trying to rain on the fun stuff, but at the end of the day, what you can do now will really benefit you later, and that's the consistency. Kim, there is a common denominator for those folks that we visit with, that we help, or that come in that are really aligned well for retirement. There's a consistent discipline that they have, where a lot of the others that are lacking didn't have that consistent discipline. They wavered, got off track, maybe went above the lifestyle that they maybe should have. And that doesn't lend its well, and it doesn't lend its well to the compounding process. And then we have to look at, the negative, and it's why we teach about why, as you get closer to retirement, you don't want all of your money at risk, because these negative periods can reduce overall the growth momentum. So we got to be cognitive of the downturns, but it's why we try to have very balanced, diversified, efficient portfolios. It's what the Haven investment team prides himself on. It's what we do, and we like to explain that. It's why we rebalance the portfolios, because small differences in returns can really change the outcome. It really, really can. So, reinvesting dividends and interest in these accounts, rebalancing, it can really have an impact on the overall growth over long periods of time, or even short amount of time. So if you're just doing the same thing as you did back 30 years ago, and you're not doing these things, the outcome could have been way differently had you had somebody paying attention. That's where the discipline and the consistency really factors into the equation.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, going back to just this idea of starting young, and I mean, you don't even have to be a mathematician to understand the idea that compounding, when you start young, that person who started saving and investing, at 25 versus the person who maybe jumped in at 55, they may have jumped in with a little more money at 55 than they did at 25. But what a difference all of those years can make.
It can. It certainly can. And that's where when folks come in, we take them through our process. Again, it's the same process. It's a discovery. Okay, what are your goals and objectives? Mm-hmm. What do you want to accomplish? How are you positioned? We'll ask questions. Again, this week, somebody said, my guy has never even asked me that question. I'm like, how is that even possible? We'll come up with a strategy. And here's our suggestions, our recommendations. All we ask is that people have an open mind, and we'll back up why we're saying these suggestions and recommendations if there's things missing. We're not just poking holes in something to poke holes. It's validate these concerns that we have, and then at the end of the day, if one chooses that we're a good partner and that we can work for them, we'll start the implementation process, and that could take some time. We have to look at the tax situation, what types of accounts. Moving accounts does take time, but it's nothing to worry about. Some people worry when they make changes that, oh my goodness, I made changes. My guy is going to be mad at me. This is your money. This is your money, small, medium, or large. What your decision is, how am I benefiting myself, my spouse, if you're married, my family, in my future? And then once we have a plan, it's about, okay, monitoring it. What's changed? Life's calendar doesn't always cooperate with our calendar. We had something that happened to our health. Adjustments need to be made. We're getting older. We don't want all the risks. We don't want to take the foot off the gas pedal. We need to set up distributions, tax planning. I'm getting close to required minimum distributions. All of that is part of our overall process, an ongoing process that over time, obviously it's going to change as we get older.
So, folks, the whole point of this show today was giving you some really great examples of ways in which the folks at Haven Financial Group work to simplify your retirement. I think, Larry, you hit the nail on the head. Retirement can be very confusing. It can be very overwhelming, not just the financial part of it. There's the psychological part of retiring as well that people are coping with. And the idea that you start planning early so that things are simplified, streamlined, comfortable, consistent. These are the words that we use. It can make all the difference. And the folks at Haven Financial Group want to do just that. They want to help you simplify. And Larry, you just said it. It's the sitting down, it's putting the plan together, and then somebody who can help you implement it and then stay right there with you as you do so.
Yeah, it's our process. We've always done it. We're honored 11 years. There's something to say about simplification and consolidation. And some folks think that, well, I have Fidelity, I have Schwab, and I have Charles Schwab, and therefore I have 3 different companies and I'm diversified. And they have all the same types of investments in all 3 accounts. That isn't diversification. So again, just this week, we consolidated a bunch of 401ks for one couple. One couple had things everywhere, and I'm like, how do you even control that? They go, we don't. That's why we need help.
Right.
So simplify, consolidate, remain diversified. At the end of the day, all the puzzle pieces, that's just on the investment side. Annual enrollment is coming up for Medicare. Glenn and Isabel are going to be very busy. Sign up for your appointment, get it reviewed, shop it out every year. Tax planning never stops. Conversions we talked about earlier, does that make sense? Again, maybe it's time for you to get a new tax person or a CPA tax preparer. Now's the time. Lance is in the office all year long. Again, planning throughout the course of the year, and then January 1st or April 15th is doing the tax preparation. He's here. There's no added cost to that. Maybe it's life insurance reviews, annuity exams, long-term care discussion. Not because all these retirement topics are so fun, so exciting, but they are all part of the retirement puzzle, and they are important, and they all affect us differently, yet similarly. Problem is, you maybe have not been updated about any of these topics in a very long time, and maybe that requires saying, hey, I'm going to pick up the phone, come on in and visit. We'd love to visit with you. That's the true fun part of our job.
612-504-8400. That's how you reach the folks at Haven Financial Group. 612-504-8400. Larry, thank you.
Thank you. Look forward to next week already.